Yeah, yeah. Everyone's gonna mic? Okay. Good afternoon. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Caldwell Hearing Examiner for April 23rd, 2024, and it is 1:38. A few small things cause us a little delay, but we are on board now. So this is a public hearing, and my name is Sabrina Durchi. I will be your hearing examiner for today. I can hear quasi-judicial decisions concerning particular land use applications for the city of Caldwell. During this public hearing process, public oral testimony will be taken from those in attendance and those who have signed up to speak. This sign-up sheet is at the front of the room. When you testify, if you could please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your full name and address for the record. All comments should be addressed to myself and should be relevant to the application. Once the public hearing is open, staff will first present their staff report, and the applicant or the applicant's representative will be given 10 minutes to speak. After the applicant, we will allow for public testimony, and each person will get 3 minutes to testify. And then finally, the applicant can come back up, and they will have they'll be permitted a 5-minute rebuttal period. After the rebuttal is given, the public hearing will be closed, and then no new oral or written testimony will be allowed unless I decide to reopen the public hearing. I request that everyone treats all parties with fairness and respect. Therefore, if we can be quiet and respectful when someone is presenting. We are required by Idaho State Code to take written minutes during our public hearings. So please silence your cell phones throughout the duration of the meeting, and thank you. So with that, we will look at our agenda for today. First item, action item, is to approve last month's hearing examiner minutes, which I just signed and handed over. So those are good. We have no old business, and then we can move on to, we have one action item for new business. This is case number SUP 24-000002. 5 N Company Homes, on behalf of Riker Bingham, is requesting a special use permit for approval to construct a new duplex structure on a parcel that is zoned Hospital District, which requires a special use permit. So with that, if April would like to start your staff report. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Hearing Examiner. My name is April Cabello, City Planner, 621 Cleveland Boulevard. The application in front of you this afternoon is for a special use for 5 N Company Homes to construct a new residential duplex in the historic in the hospital district. I apologize. The subject site is located on the west side of Fairview Avenue, approximately 150 feet north of Logan Street. The site has frontage along Fairview Avenue. The site exists within the hospital district, which is also known as the HD zone. The project site is currently surrounded by single-family and duplex residential to the west, city golf course to the east, residential and commercial uses to the north. To the south, a hospital and medical dental offices. It is completely surrounded by the hospital district. I apologize, that got ahead of me. In 2007, the subject site and the surrounding area highlighted in the purple was rezoned to the hospital district. Prior to the rezone, the area was predominantly zoned R3 high-density residential, a few R1 single-family residential, and C1 neighborhood commercial. There have been no rezones or comprehensive plan map amendments since the rezone in 2007. The purpose of the hospital district is to provide areas by zoning procedure in accordance with the comprehensive plan that provide health, medical, and related services at major medical institutions in the city and in the immediate surrounding area, such institutions. Uses which support services would have similar low-intensity land use characteristics to limited office and multiple multifamily residential uses. The land use schedule was updated in 2007 to show all residential uses requires a special use permit, including detached single-family residential, duplex, or multifamily. The subject site has a vacant, dilapidated single-family residence. The site had many code violations over the years, but currently is clear of any violations. Today's request consists of the applicant's proposal for a special use in the hospital district zone for the residential use of a duplex. The purpose of the hospital district, as I had stated before, provide areas by zoning procedure in accordance with the comprehensive plan that provide health, medical, and related services at major medical institutions in the city and in immediate areas surrounding such institutions. Uses which support services to health and medical uses are also permitted, which include multifamily. The land use schedule was updated in 2007 to show the residential uses requires a special use. The proposed use in the surrounding is surrounded by existing residential. Staff finds the request for a duplex fills the requirement of that use and supports services to the health and medical use by way of housing for medical and office workforce. Staff also finds this is a compatible use with the surrounding uses as conditioned. The subject site is designated as institutional on the comprehensive plan map. The subject site is mostly surrounded by institutional uses, open space, and residential. Staff has determined that the requested residential duplex use is compatible with the surrounding uses, provided the requested landscape modification is approved and constructs the duplex as per the rendering and elevations provided. Apologize. Go back here. Somehow it got. There we go. The landscape plan, I apologize, this is the elevation of the duplex of what is proposed. The landscape plan submitted with the special use application provides shrubs, evergreen trees, grasses, annuals, and perennials around the rear, sides, and a portion of the front of the duplex. Staff would like to see grass in the right-of-way to the edge of the property line as per code on both sides of the driveway. All public agencies were notified, but only ITD responded with no comments or concerns. City engineering had no comments or concerns. City mapping provided basic addressing comments. City fire department provided standard comments. Public comments, a letter was received in February signed by several neighbors of the subject property in opposition of the duplex, as well as email from nearby property owner expressing concerns regarding the small lot. All comments were submitted with the staff report. After re-reviewing the conditions, staff recommends modifying specific condition 1 to remove confusion as follows. At the time of the building permit submittal, the applicant shall provide a modified landscape plan that depicts the grass within the right-of-way to the edge of the property line as per code 10-07-08-1F on both sides of the driveway. And then site-specific condition 2, at the time of building permit submittal, the applicant shall provide elevations and renderings in substantial compliance with the approved documents, elevations and renderings showing the style, design, and use of several materials being wood, masonry, covered doorways, and window awnings. Staff feels that the request is consistent with the surrounding uses and will help fill some of the need for housing. Staff recommends that the request, if approved, the applicant is subject to the modified conditions as specified in the findings of facts, conclusions of law, order of decision, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, April. So I guess my first question is that modified condition, did you talk to the applicant beforehand concerning that? Are they aware of that?
No, I did not.
Okay.
That was made last night, so I do apologize that
That's
it
fine.
was not.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
And then my second question, and I think you stated it, but I just want to really clarify for the record, for the hospital district, the HD, any residential requires a special use permit. It's just not a duplex or a multifamily. It's any residential. Okay. I think that's all I have for the moment.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And then, so first will be the applicant or the applicant's representative, if they would like to come up, and you will have 10 minutes to speak. Go ahead.
Hello.
So name and address.
My name is Tabitha Forrest. My address is 18613 Prescott Lane, Nampa, Idaho 83687. This is my husband, Dustin, who's also co-owner, and we're both applicants. Same address. I just would like to say thank you to the hearing committee and the plans examiner for this opportunity. Through this process of being approved to do a special use permit, this was the first time that our company has gone through this, and the city of Caldwell was wonderful to work with. So we really appreciate that. And also I'd like to say thank you to all the neighbors who came to be a part of this process. We would like to address, first of all, the modification that was requested for the landscape variance, and we have no problem with that. We are happy to modify our landscaping plan to show those requests as part of our landscape plan when we, if approved, for us to apply for the building permit. We were hired by the owner of the property, Riker Bingham, to design this duplex. They've owned that said property with the dilapidated home for a while, and have decided that it would be best for them to do a duplex for to help sustain what's happening in Caldwell with the amount of growth, and then also considering that it is in the hospital district. It would be a wonderful place for the many, many travelers that come through West Valley System Hospital, for nurses, physicians, and any other healthcare provider or staff member that might need some short-term housing. So I know that that's our property owner's plan in the short term for this rental. We don't have much else to add other than, like we said, the hospital district is versatile by housing business and residents. We hope this added residential option will provide short-term housing options for those needing extended stays and care at West Valley Medical Center, as well as offer a long-term rental option for families or business professionals. We're really proud of this design. We are eagerly hoping to make it beautiful. I know there's reservations from a lot of the neighbors, and we wholeheartedly understand that. And so we're willing to work with the community and do our best to hope that they're proud of this being a part of their community. That's it. Thank you.
I do have some questions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the design. Some of the neighbors, and we're going to hear from them, are very concerned about the mass of the building and how, in their opinion, doesn't fit into the subdivision. When you guys designed that, did you take elements in from the surrounding area to incorporate it so that it really will be a good fit for this area? Or what considerations did you take in with the elevations and the building size?
Right. So we did a really classic board and bat siding, as well as some brick architecture for a stone look. We have considered changing the windows to not be a black frame. Those can sometimes be a little bit more on the modern side. I think one of the things that we could still do when it comes to materials and specifications is making a few adjustments in that regard. Siding is also interchangeable, but we do feel that it looks wonderful for the neighborhood, especially when we will include all of the landscaping and the greenery. I think it'll be a really beautiful house and a duplex, and will look really, really good for that neighborhood.
And as part of your SUP, you had to hold a neighborhood meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about the meeting, who attended, and what were some of the concerns that the neighbors addressed?
Absolutely. We did have a neighborhood meeting, and it was really informative. The neighbors that attended, their main concerns were that the size of the duplex and the parking on that specific lot. They were concerned that because it is a 2-bedroom with an office, that there would be more than 2 cars, some maybe 3 cars, who knows, and that the parking would be a huge issue. We agree that we would love to be able to provide more parking and even a garage option, but with the size of the lot, we did our very best to account for that parking requirement from the city for a duplex. The other issue they had was the overall feel of the building, the fact that it is a duplex, and that means that it'll be twice the amount of people living on that one lot. They were concerned of overcrowding, of there being too many people for that one space, and they want to preserve their beautiful neighborhood, and I don't blame them. And all I can say to that is our person who hired us, Riker, plans, like I said, to use that space for short-term rentals for professional type people, and then possibly the other side for a family. So we're hoping that it'll be adults or a young family that maybe has a child or two, and his goal is not to overcrowd or put a bunch of people, as many people as he can, for that space and that unit.
Tabitha, I think so one of the first questions I have, why no garages? So you guys looked into that?
Yes,
to have a
we
rear
did.
garage or front?
Yeah, just because of there's just not enough space for balancing what our client is requesting with the size of the lot, and being able to provide a nice living space for those people that might end up living in that space. There are no garages. There's not really enough space for the garage at this point to put a garage or even a covered area that we could determine. And we tried many different renderings and renditions of housing units, at one point we were looking at a threeplex and we were thinking that is just way too much. And actually told our client we just can't do that. That's impossible. And so that's with the agreement to do a duplex.
What about putting the parking in the rear so that the parking was accessed from the alley?
Mhm.
Was that
It was.
evaluated?
Yes, we did discuss that. And the feedback we got from our, what are those meetings called? Roundtable meetings. The feedback that we received from the other parties involved in the city planning were that we would have to be responsible for paving the entire alleyway and then being in charge of the cost and the upgrades to that alleyway, to the utilities, and our client just was not in a financial position to do all of that. We did research, we talked to excavation companies, we talked to what that would take for us to get a rough estimate for us to do all those things, and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars at that point.
Okay, I think that answers all my questions at this moment. I'm
Okay.
gonna, call for the rest of the public to come up and testify, and then, you'll have your rebuttal period.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
okay. I have an Ed Pomegrand?
It said no speaking.
No speaking, okay. You're in favor of the project?
If all the conditions are met, the codes of the city, but I have concerns, but I don't.
Why don't you, come on up, tell me your concerns. This is the time to do it. This is why we have public hearings.
My name is Ed Doty Pomeranski. I live at 109 East Morrison Street in the neighborhood, and we do need more residences in this area, but I've seen some growth around here. We have some large buildings that have been built, not right in our subdivision, but a 3-story building that also looks down on a single-family home over at the corner of, I think it's 9th and Fillmore, with absolutely zero parking. So I don't understand. We also built a senior citizen building, and their parking taken all the neighbor parking in that area. They didn't put even one parking space for half the people living in the building. And when I talked about that, I was just told, well, it's a senior facility. It's not going to have enough parking. I mean, they're not all going to have cars.
Hmm.
They're the Terry Riley building.
Okay.
There's another one there too.
Sure.
Those people move their cars around the neighborhood all the time and take up regular parking and business parking. And with the parking meters, I don't know what's going to happen, but where's the yard for that house?
Mhm.
If there is children, where are they going to play that's safe? Where can the children play? Is there any fences in the back? Is it going to be, I mean, I didn't see anything about that when they presented it. So I'm concerned about where does a family, if there is a family there, where do they put their kids? Is there a division in the back a fence between the 2 units? And if there is, a 19-foot yard approximately, going in the back, I don't know what the distance was from the back of the building or not.
Bring up the site plan, yeah.
But if I remember right, the building was like 18 feet or something wide. Each unit.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, okay.
is that does the city have anything like that for green space besides? Because the landscaping along the side of the building it isn't even what we require for businesses.
Well, now, remember, this is a residential.
No,
so
I
it's
realize
different,
that, but what I mean is it can't be used. To
Well,
me, it doesn't even look like you're gonna be able to. So the only place the child would have to play is in the very backyard, because the front is all concrete for a driveway and the parking.
Ed, what do you think of the parking?
I don't know how big if those spaces are for compacts, mid-size. Will they handle a pickup truck? Idahoans drive pickup trucks. In my neighborhood, there's a lot of pickup trucks. So,
Those are great questions. We'll have the applicant answer those
okay.
and staff.
And then, but, you know, it's a pretty large building for a small lot. And I know I have a lot that's bigger than that, and I'm not allowed to put a building that size on it.
Is it in the HD zone? Is it near here?
It's zoned for a duplex.
Okay.
I have a .26 lot. And so, when I inquired about doing something there, I'm not allowed to enlarge my own home. So, unless that's changed, I don't know. And I have, you know, I have a 50-foot wide lot, and my backyard is approximately 50 by 50. But I
Well,
can't add on to it.
We'll ask April, but I believe that they are meeting all their zoning requirements
Okay.
except the front landscaping, which I'll get a little more detail on, so.
Okay,
Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ed. Okay, so next one, I have a Marilyn Ray, who's neutral, that would like to speak. Hi. Oh, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
I live at 304 Mead Street.
Your name one more time.
Oh, I'm Marilyn Ray, and I live at 304 Mead Street. I've been there 20 years this July. That's when they built the place. And I look at this little map, and the blue spot is about the same size as mine. And we have 2 bedrooms on each side. It's a duplex. There's 2 bedrooms on each side, 1 bathroom, kitchen, dining, you know, living room. But I just don't know how, we have a garage in between us, but the side next door does have a step-in shower. My renter's there. He's got MS, they're handicapped. But I just don't see where kids could play on this place. The one next to it was Dr. Taylor's house, and they have kids there now, but their yard is fenced in all the way around. But, you know, I'd like to see something nice there, but I think looking at that thing is kind of scary. And the streets are very narrow. People from the hospital park on Arlington and they park on Fairview. And right now they're doing construction on the old Rohrabaugh house. Lord only knows when that was on fire, I think in July. But I'm not against the building, but that big thing is kind of big. And I don't know, if you have kids, I wouldn't want to live there with kids. And I'm an old lady, and I wouldn't want to live there with the upstairs either, so.
Marilyn, you need to
know.
be speaking to me and speaking to the mic.
But, I don't know, it's not up to me, but it's just, it seems like you could do something more creative than that.
So you live around the side
If
with
you
the
go,
duplex?
if you go north on Fairview and
Okay.
turn right there at the corner,
Okay,
I'm just right over here at the corner of Arlington and Mead.
okay, I think I
I'm
know.
one block off Logan,
Okay,
so,
okay,
yeah, okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay, next I have listed to speak, who's in opposition, is Darlene Harriman.
Yes, I'm Darlene Harriman, and I live at 1516 Fairview in the next block from the property. And I'm speaking in opposition. I was part of the group that created the letter that we turned in February in opposition to the development. And we had 23 neighbors who resided in the area sign that letter. And I think that's a significant thing to remember, is that, you know, when 23 people in the neighborhood aren't in favor of something, there's a reason why. And our reasons are, I think, very valid in that we feel like the size of the units is way above what should be put on that piece of property. We would love to have the little blue house gone, for sure, but it needs to be replaced with something of reasonable size. And in looking at the new picture that they have created for the outside appearance of the design, it's very nice, but it does not address the potential of having 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, and that many people living on that kind of space. Because as we know in many, homes in Caldwell, there are a lot of people in a small space. And the potential of that happening there is, I think, not realistic for the size. Also, the idea of having rental space for part-time hospital staff. I've talked to several people who know traveling nurses and doctors, and they would not live in that kind of a unit where they share a common space and have their own bedroom, if that's the kind of clientele that the new owner is hoping to have. The issue with parking is a big concern for us, because parking, those 4 parking spaces, we don't feel would be adequate for the 3-bedroom unit. And also, the safety on Fairview is a concern. Already, if there are a lot of cars parked from the hospital or from the Cayley Medical Center, facility where the people come in for training and so forth, there are a lot of cars parked along Fairview, and we have school buses that go up and down that street. Plus, if anything is blocking 10th Avenue, Fairview is the alternate route. And turning onto Fairview or coming off of Fairview becomes very complicated when cars are parked there. So adding more cars with less parking is a concern of ours. Plus, some of the neighbors have been told that the access of utilities is somewhat limited. Electrical permits have been refused. Building permits have been refused because of the lack of electricity in the service in the area. Whether just another transformer or new lines, I'm not sure what the issue is on how to fix that, but adding a duplex with the potential of 6 bedrooms puts a strain on that. Water, sewer, irrigation, we're an old neighborhood, and all of those things could become more congested. I understand that a duplex is within keeping of the zoning, but whether it's in keeping of the use of that property, I'm not sure. And if the units weren't quite as large and had a garage, each one had a garage, I think it would be a better use if the only building is going to be a duplex. But we would really prefer a single-family dwelling with a nice garage and in keeping with the other homes. The 2 homes that are adjacent to this property are lovely large homes and present a beautiful view from the golf course. And it'll be even better when what we call the burnt house is fixed, and it certainly is coming along finally. So those are our concerns. I do have a letter, if I'm able to go ahead and read that, from...
Need to make that letter an exhibit? Okay. Do we need to read what exhibit is going to be, or number, where she starts? Okay, exhibit 1.
Okay, this is from Kylie Hill, who is owner with her husband in the house next door.
Which one? Which one's next door?
The 1604. And she says, and she was not able to come today because she had to work and her husband's out of town. We are the owners and residents of 1604 Fairview, directly next to the property in question. We are thrilled to hear that there are plans being made for the property after 2 years of living here on this beautiful street. Our main concern stems from the proposition of a building multiple family home. Fairview is a unique street that holds at least 80 years of history within the homes. 1608 is between 2 charming old homes and that are distinctive in their appearance. The new build is going to look out of place regardless. a new family home with a large parking lot will be the only, exacerbated, in this issue. I would propose that, owners of 1608 instead consider building a single-family home with either a driveway similar to 1616, or, parking in the back like our home is. Ultimately, we are hoping for a new home at this, 1608 blends into the rest of the street and maintains the historic integrity. We appreciate your consideration and look forward to compromising with you. So I'd like to read that. Also, I had the neighbor right behind call me last night, and her name is Gina. I can't remember her last name. I could look it up. It's also on the,
Okay,
she's
fine.
one who signed it. But she was unable to come today because her mother passed away, and she was planning to be here, but she wanted me to tell you that she was definitely in opposition, and she's directly in back of that property.
Darlene, okay, so
Yes.
thank you for your testimony. Thank you for, reading in the other people's testimony. So my question to you, if it's gonna be a duplex,
Mm-hmm.
because really, the code allows for the duplex.
I understand that.
What would be the compromise that you would you'd be like to see?
I would say that having part of the building have a garage, you know, like her garage is in the middle between the two duplexes. You could pull in and go to the garage, and it would be a driveway in the middle. And then each duplex would have its own space. I think, so that would maybe cut out a bedroom out of that plan, or some amount of smaller space somewhere, but using the same design, but creating a garage in the front of it, or in the back.
Or in the back, okay.
Because I understand that a duplex is permitted, even though, you know, it doesn't have to be 3 bedrooms, so.
So what's the heartburn on the 3 bedrooms? Typically, homes have 3 bedrooms. I mean, you guys, would you rather see 2-bedroom units? Or, I mean, 3 bedrooms seems very average duplex, single-family size home.
I'm not familiar with that,
Okay, okay.
so.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with me before you?
Just the safety issues, and, I think, you know, asking them to put a strip of lawn on the side of the buildings is, a waste of time, because, who's gonna take care of it if they're renting, and, anyway.
Okay.
Seemed like a fix that wasn't necessary,
Sure.
so, okay.
Thank you so much for your time. Before I call anyone else up, I want to talk to staff about a few things. So, a lot of the comments I'm hearing is about the size. So, what's the height limitation of the HD zone? Looks like they have 6-foot setbacks on each side. What are the dimension criterias for the zone? No, you're fine. Take your time. And then do we have the dimensions of their elevations, or we need to ask the applicant, like the height of the building?
Morgan Bisa, is it working?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Morgan Bisa, Planning and Zoning, sorry. The max height in the hospital district is none. There is no max height, so they could
Okay.
go, as high as they like. We did look at the dimensions regarding parking, and they are meeting the code for size of parking spaces. Those parking spaces are dimensioned out at 20 feet by 9 feet,
Okay.
which is what code requires. It's not designated a compact spot or anything like that. It's the same size we would require for any sort of parking space. They are meeting all the code requirements regarding landscaping, setbacks, yard size. We don't require minimum yard sizes. Not all families or property owners want to maintain a yard. You know, some are intentionally looking for less maintenance. It looks like the height of the building is 31 feet.
31, okay.
And so I believe it is just a two-story, and I believe, the residents on either side of this property are also two-story.
Yes, okay, I noticed that. And then, were either of you at the round table
I was not at the round table.
concerning the alleyway improvements?
No, but that would be standard, so if a property owner wanted to access from an alley, the city's standard practice would be to require them to improve the full width of the alley to city code for that access.
So would they have to just do on one side or on both, the entire alleyway? Like what's the,
You know, since neither of us were there, I wouldn't wanna speak for
okay,
the other departments.
okay. 'Cause could they get a variance from that if,
I don't believe that a variance would be like correct there because
Right.
typically variances would not be granted for financial reasons.
right,
But if engineering wanted to require less, so it wasn't a variance from code, but it was just a different requirement of theirs, I suppose that would be up to them.
okay, okay. And then one more follow-up, and I think this is more of an Idaho Power question, but they were saying the utilities out there are limited?
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, thank you.
We do submit all the land use applications to all the relevant agencies that provide services to the property. And we did not receive any comments back from any agency expressing concern, including Idaho Power, but also, you know, water, sewer, any services. No one expressed concern that they would not be able to accommodate this.
Duplex, okay, great.
Because regarding single-family homes, we would not limit number of buildings, right? So potentially you could have a detached single-family home that came in that wasn't a duplex that had 3, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms. The city would not regulate the number of bedrooms that a single family could have.
Okay. Okay, so, thank you, Morgan and April. I don't have anyone else that signed up to testify. I'm just, last call, if anyone else would like to stand up and, provide comments that has not already provided some. Does anyone else before we let the applicant come back up and speak? Oh, Ed, you've already been up. Okay, okay, Ed. Just one thing though, and make sure it's relevant to the application. Okay,
Most of the homes in that neighborhood all have basements.
okay.
On
Oh,
each-
Ed, one more time, your address and name, sorry.
My name is Ed Doty Pomeranski. I live at 109 East Morrison Street, Caldwell. And all of the homes, including mine, and I know they've been working on the sewer in my alley, and all of those homes have had backups. Mine has damage in the basement from a prior to I owned the home 16 years ago. And, if that's, you know, you're adding a lot to that, and if they paved that alley, if that was made a requirement, then trying to replace the sewer and upgrade it to where it could handle that. That would be my concern. Because all of the other homes, I didn't see any basement on this one.
No, I don't think
And I
there
know
is.
the one that's being repaired on the other side of it does have a basement, been there, 80-plus years.
Okay,
And so our neighborhood, all the houses on my street of all Morrison and just off of Kimball have had their basements back up because as they built new homes, it has the old sewer.
okay. Thank you, that's
Mhm.
good to know. Thank you, Ed. Okay, Tabitha, are you ready for your rebuttal? Okay.
I have some other insight too.
Okay, great.
Um,
Name and address.
sorry. Tabitha Forrest, address is 18613 Prescott Lane, Nampa, Idaho 83687.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, to address the fencing, concern that had come up, fencing is accounted for in the landscaping plan.
Can we bring up their site plan with the landscape? Thank you, April.
It's very hard to see with those tiny little keystrokes. We did bring a board that has this exact same, diagram on it that is a little easier to read if people would like to take a look at that, if that's okay with.
Sure, that can
Okay.
be exhibit 2. We want to add? Oh, it's the same thing? Okay.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So yes, we have accounted for fencing. to help provide a little bit more boundaries, privacy, as well as, obviously the trees, landscaping. We, someone else brought up the parking, and then I also realized that they addressed that as well, but the parking is standard parking. It's a 9-foot by 20-foot length, which would fit most trucks at this point. As far as the children playing, I completely understand that. There are beautiful parks all over Caldwell that I know, as a mother of 5 myself, can only wait to get my kids out to go to the park. So, and then we did account for, on the landscape plan, you can kind of see how there's a little bit of a patio, but I don't know, per the cities, and forgive me, you can maybe let me know how much percentage of that has to be foliage and plants versus grass. I don't know either. So we're not opposed to putting more grass back there, if that's a neighborhood concern, that having a better place for little kids to play in their backyard, if that's issue.
700 square feet.
It's about 700 square feet per side
Per side of backyard.
of backyard. Let's see. Oh, hospitals. Someone brought up the fact that most hospital travelers would not want to stay in a duplex or some setup of residence this way, and I can attest that that's not what I've heard from feedback. I actually am a critical care nurse. I've been licensed and practicing in the state of Idaho for 18 years, and I am very close to many traveling physicians and nurses, and this would be a dream come true as far as their accommodations for what they would be staying in and living in while they would help us out here in Idaho. We accounted for the 4 spaces required for the city for parking to hopefully take off some of that parking that might happen on the street with guests, but again, it wouldn't be permanent is our hope. It's also a 2-bedroom office.
2 bedrooms with an office.
2 bedrooms with an office, thank you.
Not 3 bedrooms.
It's not 3 bedroom.
2 bedrooms.
It's a 2-bedroom office. Just as a side note,
Do you
as
have the floor plan real quick? Do you
oh,
have
sure,
the-
yeah, we can bring the floor plan up.
If I can,
Part of our, do you want me to wait?
Is it not?
well, you can go ahead, she'll bring it up.
Oh, do you not have a floor
No?
plan?
Okay.
I think, I thought we had to, oh, I think it,
Planning and zoning. We don't have the floor plan, but we don't really regulate floor plans. We don't
Okay.
require people to provide them.
I was
Okay.
just curious if we had it so that the public could see that.
Yeah,
It
so
might
I
be
wanted
on
to
this
clarify.
Is it on that
It's
one?
not that I don't know what would be required for grass versus planting. It says that there's no requirement. So there's
Okay.
no requirement that you change it.
Okay. Do you wanna hand that out so people can see?
Sure.
So there's,
it's a little easier to see the landscape proposal as well. Okay, so floor plan, yes.
Yeah,
you
2
like-
bedrooms, one, and an office.
In an office.
okay.
Anything, would you like me to wait?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
As a side note, our company, we have built multi-million-dollar homes all over the Treasure Valley, McCall, Cascade, and we regularly work with utility companies, including well, septic, power, gas, and we work regularly with the planners at Idaho Power. And so if they are asking us to upgrade a transformer to provide for the electrical load of this, that is part of our scope, and we will happily include that in our budget. As far as the maintenance and the yard care, most typically in any rental or short-term rental situation, the landlord is 100% responsible for maintaining that space for landscaping. And that is, I think that was all that I wanted to address.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think, just you guys. I like the product. I love the duplex. Where I'm getting, my concern is the parking up front. Because really, if you look at, go down the street, no one has a parking lot up front. So, you guys have vetted that the option, that this is the only option that works.
Yes, yes. So the lot, if we put a garage out in front, first of all, it's not gonna look very nice, just
I agree.
having the garage, so the width of the lot is only 50 feet, 38 feet, plus 6 on each side. So really, there isn't the option to have, like somebody else mentioned, having a garage in the middle where we could share a garage, and it's just the lot size doesn't accommodate that for that. And so every lot's different sized and can accommodate different layouts. And so, in order to get all of the parking off the road and onto the property, we were able to put the driveway and the parking spots in front, but the garage and to have a duplex doesn't work out. So, we did the best we could with parking and getting it off the road, but there wasn't a room for an actual garage.
Mhm. And then again, putting the parking at the rear, maybe moving the building up a little bit closer.
Yeah, that, they didn't really like having all the cars coming off the alleyway, you know, onto the Logan, I believe it is.
Okay.
You know, the width of the street and coming in and out of that alley wasn't actually the optimal as well, and as.
And who was that at the round table? Was that engineering or?
Well,
who?
actually, there was widening of the street, I mean, the utilities, there was paving the entire thing, there was a number of different issues, but that could be a possibility to do all of those things, but we just felt it was a burden on this property to do all of those things by themselves, to widen the alley, to pave the alley, to move utilities, and to for the added traffic that would be coming on and off the alley. It just didn't make sense for this project, so we pushed it to the back and allowed for the parking spots in the front.
And then, for the landscaping, have you guys thought about maybe like beefing up the landscaping a little bit more to like kind of screen the parking lot, or is that something that you guys have thought about?
Yeah, we would be more than willing to any kind of privacy types of plants to kind of block the parking spots, as long as we didn't put anything in that blocks view of coming in and out of the property, the visual triangles. We could, there could be some things that we could do to help screen and make things a little more appealing.
Okay.
With greenery.
Yeah, 'cause that's my concern, is the bulk, there's gonna be just a parking lot in the front. When you look through the street, there's no parking lots, and ideally, this is when like historic districts are in play, when they have design standards, which Caldwell doesn't have for this area. So, I just wanna make sure everything has been exhausted, so that this is, the only last option.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we would love to have a garage. If there was room for a garage, we would be putting one on there. We would like to have one, but
Or if the financial burden didn't rest solely for the alley improvements and the utility upgrades and all of those things didn't rest solely on our client, is a big factor.
Yeah, and you said you contacted all the utility companies and asked?
Yeah, we talked to, our excavating company, Paver, to give us a rough estimate what it would take to do all of the upgrades per our roundtable notes. And that's kind of where we were at, was about $100,000 for all those.
Well, that was a starting point. There's a whole bunch of unknowns as far as utilities and widening the alley. And the traffic. It was kind of an initial, to getting us to that point, and that's where we decided it was
So they were gonna have you
We were
widen
gonna,
it?
we were actually gonna do 4 units on this property at the beginning. We were gonna try to have 4, because there's, I think, allowances up to 4 on a hospital district to maximize. So we went from there to, doing all alleyway parking and all of that, to do that, down to this, which is the best use that we came up with for that property. But the alleyway, doing the alleyway and the improvements on that was prohibitive on this lot.
Okay, and you would have had to widen it, which means that you would have to require additional right-of-way to, like, as well, of the alley?
There's telephone poles and electrical poles and things like that that are,
That have to be moved, yeah.
mhm.
Whole,
Yeah.
and it would be the
It's a
whole
thin-
length of it too, so it wouldn't have been just in front,
Just the one side or front, it's the whole
the
alleyway?
whole
from
alleyway.
right-of-way to right-of-way, okay.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, thank you for explaining that, because you can see it would be, that would
Yeah.
ideal, sounds like that would have been ideal for you guys
We
as
started
well.
We
trying to do
started
that,
there.
and it just wasn't,
Yeah,
didn't work.
okay,
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with me before?
Think of anything?
No, so as far as the siding and the appeal for the historic value of it, we don't mind looking at the siding and going towards like a lap siding, or, match some kind of historical, we can look at the area and come up with a different exterior color scheme and siding profile.
Okay.
So we're open to like helping in that way, and as well as landscaping, to help make things appear nicer and feel better.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So those
Okay,
things are, we're open to.
great. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for your
You're welcome.
time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Staff, is there anything else that you'd like to share with me on the application? April, you're good? Okay. So, I will close the public hearing. Oh. I'm getting the head shake no. Yeah, we'll all have to let the applicant come back up as well. So, I'm gonna close the public hearing, and, this one, I thought it was gonna be easier decision. I really like the elevation. I like the duplex. I have heartburn with the parking lot, but it sounds like the applicant has checked every option, and this was the best feasible, options for them as far as layout, meeting the parking standards. So with that, based on the testimony, information received, and record of evidence, I will make a motion to approve the application SUP 24-00002. Now, if you don't agree with my decision, you can appeal it to city council. So, those are the options, moving forward. Thank you. And with that, that is our last, that was our, only business item, and so I will now close our public hearing. It is 2:36 p.m. Thank you.